Wow. Ooh, anybody in here ever change? Yeah? Yeah? Well, like from 4 hours ago, I am not the same person, right? So just this idea, this theme this month here at Unity on Greenville, the courage to change, is so perfect for entering into this season of Lent. Because so often, I know when I was growing up, what I heard about Lent was, what are you going to give up? What are you going to give up that you really, 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 really like? You've got to give it up. And it felt like punishment, right? Like, I've got to go for 40 days without something I really like because it's bad, or I'm bad, or something's bad. But what I love about this idea of the courage to change is that Lent really is not about punishment. It is about deepening, and it is about following this example of being on the journey to the greatest yet to be, the greatest each one of us can be, and letting what doesn't serve us fall away, so that we can then express that which is the magnificence of us, the spiritual magnificence, the human magnificence, the greatest part of us. So I love that in the garden writing today really steps us into the Garden of Gethsemane. Because I don't think when I was young and I was reading about Lent and I was reading about the Holy Week and all of that, I don't think I got it fully. I don't even know if I've got it fully now, to be honest. Because every few years it seems like I go, oh yeah, that. But what I am clear about when we look at the example in the Garden of Gethsemane, especially the first part that was covered today in the reading of Jesus going to the garden to seek an opportunity to be in alignment with the infinite within. So the courage to change begins, in my mind, with awareness, of course, but the courage to pray. The courage to pray. Not a beseeching prayer, not a prayer that's like, oh God, please don't let this bad thing happen to me. Or a Santa Claus prayer, oh God, please bring me something that I really, really want. But a prayer that says, I am in alignment with the truth of all truths. This is what is true about me. And I am going to walk from that place. I am going to talk from that place. I am going to live from that place. And I can't speak for you, but for me, that's not always easy to do. Now, some of you may be like, oh yeah, I do it all the time. No issue, no problem. I'm always living from, walking from, speaking from that infinite place that is within me that is so solid and that is so eternal that nothing that anyone says or does can rock me from my center. And if you are that person, I aspire to be like you. Because I don't know, I watch the news sometimes and I'm not in my center. Or I've lost jobs and been concerned about how I was gonna pay my bills and I wasn't in my center. Or the week that my then husband and I decided that it was time for us to get divorced, I wasn't in my center every moment of that process. So if you are that person who is so centered and so in that that you never ever are off center, then you should be up here giving the talk. I would be happy to give you the microphone because I too want to know how you do that. Right? I want to know how you behave or how you get to the center without having the music from Rachel Levine. I want to know how you get to center without having, is it Mary? Having that prayerful energy that Mary just so beautifully demonstrated for us all to bring us into that center. I want to know how you do that. But one of the ways I do that is I return over and over again to pray and to prayer. And I promise you, sometimes for me, it takes a lot of courage to get myself out of the way and pray a prayer that aligns me back with the truth of who I am. Now, I'm holding my phone because I want to read this Emilie Cady quote, not paraphrase it, because what Emilie Cady wrote a long time ago is one of the foundational beliefs that I have come to develop about prayer. Emilie Cady wrote, "True prayer is not a petition for change. True prayer is an affirmation of the inner truth of your soul. True prayer aligns with that infinite creative power. And in aligning with that infinite creative power, you transform your world. Everything must change. But you get to decide how your world is transformed by that change and how you yourself engage with that change." So again, Emilie Cady. "True prayer is not a petition for change, but an affirmation of the inner truth of your soul. In aligning with that infinite creative power, you transform your world." And isn't that what we teach in Unity and in New Thought in general? That we teach that the divine within is what we are connecting with, and that it is that divine within that if we connect with that, our thoughts will be different. And when our thoughts are different, it changes what we believe. And when we believe different things, or our belief begins to shift, then we start doing things differently. Like our beliefs drive our behavior. And then our behavior changes and we realize, oh, I'm doing things differently now. I'm doing things differently now. I'm doing things differently now. It's a habit. I don't have the same habits that I had 10 years ago, or when I was 15 years old, or when I was 6 years old. I have new habits. And those habits then create a new experience, which is my life today. And wow, I like my life today. How did that happen? I aligned with the truth of spirit. I changed my thinking. All of these other things in the middle changed, and I changed my life. We say so easily and quickly, change your thinking, change your life, but we forget all of the things that happen in the process of change, or as a result of, honestly, as a result of changing our thinking. There are these incremental steps that then change our lives. And at every step along the way, I pray. I pray when it's good. I pray that I am in alignment with Spirit and it is something great is happening. I chuckle because last night, very late last night, like this morning, like 1:30 in the morning, I got home from skating. So some of you know that I am an avid, addicted to roller skating person. And there was a special party last night from 10:30 to 3:30 in the morning. Yeah, addicted to skating. Yeah, so there was a special party last night in Arlington, and I went. I didn't stay till 3:30 in the morning. I left about 12:45, so I got home, and around 1:30 in the morning, I realized I had mail from this past week that I had not opened. I brought it in, I set it on the table, and I'm going through this mail, and there's a card. I opened the card. I assumed, human assumption, I assumed it was a birthday card, because I had a birthday a few weeks ago, and it wasn't. I opened the card, and a check fell out. Yeah, this was a good thing, right? And I read the card and then I reached down. I didn't actually know it was a check. I saw something fall out. And then I picked it up and it was a check. And someone had sent me a check as a tithe, totally unexpected, totally welcomed, of course. And that's a good thing, right? As soon as I saw it was a check and the amount, I put the card and the check down and I went into prayer. It was a prayer of gratitude, and it was a prayer that was basically the deepest part of me recognizes that when I am acting from it, when I am speaking from that place, not only am I in alignment, but it is not Tracy giving a gift of wisdom to others. It is the gift of God coming through me to encourage, engage someone else. And that check was a representation of that it wasn't my ego, it was my willingness to be in alignment. And I chuckled a few minutes ago, 3 minutes ago, because I didn't consciously say, oh, stop and pray and be thankful for this check. It was automatic. I didn't even really realize I did it until I was talking 5 minutes ago and saying, you pray when you celebrate and you pray also when you are shifting, because it's all about change, right? It's all about what's happening today, what's happening in this moment, what's happening this week, what is happening in the nation, and what is my role in it? How do I bring the God presence forward? But we have to have the courage to pray so that we don't act only from our humanness. Now, from my humanness today, I will send this person who sent me the card a human thank you note. I will handwrite a note and put it in the mail, and I will send a text or email immediately and follow that up. But it is the courage for me, it is the courage to ground myself in prayer no matter what is happening. On the other side, the courage to pray when things are devastating. The courage to pray when someone you love and care for has made their transition. The courage to pray when a relationship ends. The courage to pray when you've been laid off. The courage to pray when you have a medical diagnosis. That is equally important, because if you're like me, and I'm guessing that most of you have a little bit of similarity, when the doctor says, here is your diagnosis, here is the prognosis, and here is what we're going to do about it. In that moment, I often will find myself wanting to cry or scream or cuss the doctor out, right? Because the doctor is telling me something I do not want to hear, right? But in the moment, having the human reaction and in the next breath saying, that which in me knows exactly what to do. That which in me has been born as a blessing. That within me is the truth of me. And this diagnosis is just something that I'm experiencing right now, but it doesn't define me. It does not tell me who I am. So let me pray from the place of knowing who I am. I am a child of God. I am wholeness expressing. Every cell in my body knows exactly what to do to connect with every other cell in order to return my body to wholeness. I know the truth of me is that I am here for a reason, and every moment that I am alive, I am going to be awake and alive and aware and be helpful to people, because that is why I am here. I am here, and the truth within me is coming up and coming forward now. It is not limited by whatever has caused this illness in the past, because beginning right here, beginning right now, I am ready to go forward with a positive attitude, with the attitude of God, with the faith in God, and that's the prayer. The prayer is not, oh, please, God, take this illness away from me because I'm so weak and I can't do this. That's just affirming what you don't want. That is not giving any recognition to the infinite one within you that is saying, here I am here to serve, and actually you are here to represent me in this earth while you are in this body. That is the place of prayer. Do you have the courage to pray from that place? There's silence in the room. Does anybody have the courage to pray from that place? Raise your hand, something. Like, it takes courage. It's not easy. And that's one of the reasons that we have unity on Greenville. So that we can be reminded that there is a place deep, deep, deep within that is what Emilie Cady said. It is that innermost place of being that allows us to walk through whatever our human path is and get to the destination of being an example of love and light and joy and beauty and truth and wholeness, order. Whatever spiritual quality or attribute that is needed in that moment to switch, to turn the switch from dark to light. Picture this in your mind. Eyes open or closed, it doesn't matter. Picture the last time, the most recent time, maybe this morning, where you walked to the wall and you turned a light switch or a lamp by your bed and you pulled the chain and the light, so the light would come on. Got it in mind? You actually flipping a light switch. It takes courage, but that's what you are doing when you choose to pray from this place that Emilie Cady writes about. You are flipping the switch from darkness to light in the way that you show up in the world. And if you are having the courage to pray in good times, you are flipping the switch. The switch is already on, the light is already on, but if you are like me, you've got some places in your home where you have dimmers, or you have those lamps that have 3 levels of light, and you're going from light to bright light to the brightest light. So my challenge for you this week is to remember that when Jesus, who we teach as is the example, not the exception, that Jesus has already showed us the way to move through the good and the challenging times. Going into the Garden of Gethsemane, knowing that there was betrayal ahead, and one of the options included death. Jesus was scared. Jesus was in despair. But Jesus had the courage to take off the human coat and ground himself in the spiritual truth. Even when Peter and the two J's, I don't know why, I think of this like as a singing group or something, right? But the 3 friends he brought along, they went to sleep. He asked them to stay awake. They went to sleep. And then when he realized that, he walked away back into the garden and prayed some more. Because he recognized, I have to do this. I am the one. So think about this week. What is your Garden of Gethsemane? When you go to sleep at night, what is it that you are willing to let go of? Just let it fall away, because it is not serving you. It is something that might be getting in the way of you having your best experience of life. So that if you do that when you are going to sleep, when you wake up, you get to wake up into the next thing, the world you want to have. That is what Lent is about. That is what courage is about. And I invite you to join me this week, having the courage to pray. Can we anchor that in a little prayer and then go into music? Breathing now, breathing with me. Ooh, we went deep in meditation. For this prayer, let's go upstairs. Let's ascend right here and right now into a slightly higher place, into a slightly higher energy, into a higher thought, a higher willingness. Reverend Homer Johnson, 50 or 60 years ago, said, it is now time for us to go upstairs, to ascend to the place where the infinite is waiting for us. It is simply an energetic shift. And as I stand in the courage to pray, I know that the courage to pray is my pathway to the courage to change. And the courage to change is my pathway to having my best life. I claim this now, and I'm grateful for the willingness, the readiness, and the opportunity to say yes, yes to prayer, yes to change, because all I'm doing is changing into God as me, changing into a better representation of God as me, changing into a better contribution or a contributor to heaven on earth. I'm ready to wake up. I'm ready to wake up. Say it with me. I'm ready to wake up. I'm ready to wake up. I'm ready to wake up. 2 more times. I'm ready to wake up. I'm ready to wake up. And so it is.